Good afternoon. Today we will study about the 5 types of clause. The 5 types of clause are a tool to understand the clauses already written. As far as I know, the classification of a clause into the 5 types from the analysis in Japan. The 5 types of clause are consistent with the clauses that are already written, but in a specific clause, the 5 types are not applied. So the 5 types of a clause are a tool to analyze a clause that is already stated by a speaker. The 5 types of a clause are classified into the 2 types according to the transitivity of a verb. The transitivity of a verb indicates the trait of a description. Is conveyed from the subject to the object. Then the description has the trait of the transitivity. Let's start from the definition of the 5 types of a clause. A complete clause with a subject and a verb at least is constituted in the different 5 types according to the transitivity of the verb. A minimal prerequisite for a complete clause is the existence of a subject and a verb. The simplest type of a clause is constituted with a subject and an intransitive verb. The discussion about the structure of a clause is able to be dealt with because the speaker sets a fact as a premise. The premise is that each word applied in a clause is arranged in a position where the word is required to be arranged according to the trait to define the word. So there are rules to arrange a word in a clause. When we search the definition of a word, we can figure out the definition of the word and the trait of the word. The trait of a word refers to a noun, a pronoun, a verb, a determiner, an adjective, and an adverb. The trait of a word or refer to a noun or pronoun that are the indications, and a verb, a determiner, an adjective, and an adverb that are the descriptions. In this class, we will consider how to arrange each word with its distinctive trait into a right position in a clause. The speaker conforms to the order that the speaker comes up with a word to convey the definition. Consistent with the intention of the speaker, applies a rule to arrange the word and transforms the word in accordance with the rule. When the speaker states a clause to express the intention of the speaker comes up with what the speaker wants to convey. After the speaker figures out the intention, the speaker selects the appropriate word so the speaker considers the definition of a word first, and then the speaker transforms each word consistent with the rule of grammar. The 5 types of a clause to analyze the stated clause are simplified from the inductive sequence. The 5 types of a clause are a tool to analyze a clause that is already stated. Before we start to study about the 5 types of a clause, it is good to understand why there is an exceptional clause with the 5 types of a clause. The 5 types of a clause are devised from the inductive analysis. Numerous clauses. There can be an exception from the inductive analysis. The inductive sequence to analyze the clause indicates the initiation to figure out the trait of a word firstly, classified into an indication or a description, to the termination to figure out the structure of the clause. We will analyze a clause to see how the clause is constituted with each word. Then we will start to analyze each word first. The point we focus on each word is the trait as an indication or a description. And then we will see how an indication and a description constitute a complete structure of a clause. We will initiate the analysis from the classification of a word into an indication or a description. And the next step is to classify an indication into a noun or a pronoun. And the description will be classified into a verb, a determiner, an adjective, or an adverb. Then we can see each word in a clause has its own trait and forms a complete clause. So the final step we will analyze a clause is to classify each clause into the 5 types. After a word practices a role in a clause according to the original trait of the word is considered as a constituent of the clause.